Severe weather alert at this hour as a major winter storm is dumping snow all across Metro Detroit.
Winter storm warnings are in effect for 2 counties, and if you're watching, or I should say waiting for someone to get home from work, oh, it's going to be a while. Good evening. March certainly is coming in like a lion tonight, and this storm is far from over.
Especially from where we were just yesterday, right? We're already seeing snow emergencies issued, including Clawson, Auburn Hills, and Garden City. The list, though, sure to grow here over these next few hours. We continually update it on clickondetroit.com. We start things off at 5 with Ben. Ben, coming down pretty good.
It is, and I wish I had better news. If this was all snow, it would be one thing, but that layer of slush and gook below all this snow is really causing problems across the area, and the snow is continuing to come down at a good clip. We're watching that band of heavy snow just now starting to leave Ann Arbor towards Ypsi and starting to approach some of the more highly traveled roads during this afternoon commute. So just to the east of 23, at least in the northern sections of Washtenaw County, heading towards 275 and all the highways around Metro Detroit. Back to the west, we were seeing a little bit more of an edge to the snow, but now precipitation starting to form as we're getting a little bit of upper level support out there. And even though it's showing up as rain, it's all going to be snow by the time it gets here. Winter storm warnings were expanded earlier today to include more counties all the way to St. Clair County and also including all of our metro zone as well as Washtenaw County. That's until 4 a.m. North and south of their winter weather advisories in effect until 4. We're expecting a little bit more snow in that warning area than we are in the advisory locations. So far, we've gotten reports of 4.5 inches of snow in Manchester, 4 in Howell, and just a little bit over 3 in Ann Arbor. All these totals were taken between 3 and 4:30 this afternoon. So with that heavy band especially rolling here west 23, it looks like those totals could even be higher as we speak. This is what we're expecting by the time this is all wrapped up, generally 3 to 7, and you can see that sort of window of heavier snow right here across Livingston, Oakland, and even Washtenaw counties that we'll be watching here in the next few hours. Let's get out to Tim Pamplin. He is on I-96 near Novi, and Tim, I imagine it's just dreadful out there.
Oh, Ben, I think this may actually be the worst I've seen of the winter season driving with these live drives that we do to keep everybody appraised. Again, as you say, it started out with rain and now it's been incessant snow piling up on top. I thought initially it wasn't going to be much of an issue of icing, but let me tell you, the carriageway is icing up in places. Now, this is a very heavy, wet snow. It's going to cause problems, I suspect, all around town with power lines. One thing I noticed, away from the freeways when I got on the surface streets, is traffic lights. Traffic lights that are facing north. If you can tell now, the snow is coming in from the north, being blown in this way. The LED traffic lights, I spoke to Greg Bryson of the Road Commissioner for Oakland County. The snow is posing a problem. These LED lights, traffic lights, don't create any heat. The snow is sticking and caking these traffic lights. They've got crews out now trying to beat the snow off of the traffic lights. They say if you come to an intersection where you can't see what the traffic light color is, it's a 4-way stop. So lots of issues out here tonight. Be careful, take your time. That's the scene right now, 696 area. Back to you guys. I believe Mara is actually standing by up in Troy. Mara.
Hi, Tim. We sure are. Take a look behind me. You can see Big Beaver is a mess, so is I-75. To give you an idea of what we're dealing with out here, it took us about half an hour to get from 9 Mile and 75 up here to Big Beaver and 75. And what is merely a wet freeway at 9 and 75 turns over into a real icy, slushy mix around 14 Mile. We have seen the Road Commission for Oakland County as well as multiple jurisdictions, DPW crews out here, not just salting, but trying to blade this slush, ice, snow mix off the roads. And I really need to give a real sincere thank you to Hazel Park DPW. If you all were watching us live at 4, those guys had the opportunity to cover us in an icy tidal wave of slush. They saw us, they slowed down so that we got maybe a small wave, but not covered from head to toe. It is a hideous commute tonight. If this freezes over, and Ben is saying it's going to, unless they get this bladed out of here, we're talking about major surface roads as well as freeways that are going to start resembling luge runs. We're live in Troy. I'm Mara McDonald. Karen, Devin, I'm hiding under my hood.
Yes.
Back to you.
I was just about to point out, if this was SeaWorld, you would be standing in what they call the splash zone. So be really careful right there. All right, Mara. We've got our crews fanned out all over town right now.
Yes, take a look at some of the video we're getting in from Warren. You can see conditions are not much better there. The traffic is building. This is Van Dyke, just north of the I-696, and it really is a mess out there. So please make sure to take your time.
And of course, it's weather like this for which we built the Local Forecasters app. Puts live radar right in the palm of your hand. You can download it for free in your app store. Just search WDIV.
We have breaking news from Warren at this hour. Investigators have found a kill list written by a student that made a threat against Carter Middle School yesterday. The list included students who he was upset with at that school. The case was handed over to police, and now the boy is currently facing a 20-year felony for making the threat.
Now to a story that's developing right now. A Detroit man has been formally charged with first-degree murder. This is the man that police say was caught on camera dragging the dead body of his victim.
Let's get to Jermont Terry. He was in the courtroom. Jermont.
Karen and Devin, Rudolph Henderson is charged with first-degree premeditated murder. It's a case that really rattles people to their core. This afternoon, Henderson appeared by video arraignment here at the 36th District Court. Now, Henderson looked perplexed when the judge read the charges, at times clearly stating he did not understand the charge or why he was sitting in jail. But prosecutors say the 43-year-old is behind the brutal murder this week of Annette Wilson on Detroit's west side. Surveillance video in the area of Plymouth and Winthrop captured a man dragging a partially nude woman from a house. In the video, you can see the man dump the woman's body on the sidewalk. Now, prosecutors say the man in that video is in fact Henderson. Witnesses told investigators they saw Henderson place the woman's lifeless body near the curb like it was trash. Now, take a look at what happened in court when Henderson learned that he could face life in prison for this crime.
Maximum penalty is life without parole. Understand that, sir?
No.
You don't. Okay, Mr. Henderson, sir, please do not say anything about the case, the alleged facts of the case. That is something that you should talk to your attorney. Do you understand that?
No.
As you heard, Henderson tried to tell the judge that he found the body. However, the judge quickly shut him down, saying that she didn't want to hear anything about the case in question. It's still unclear exactly how Henderson and the victim knew each other. We will likely learn more when he steps back before a judge on March 15th. For now, reporting live outside the 36th District Court in downtown, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
All right, and our big story at this hour, we've been talking about the snow, and with all of this, you can bet we are going to see some new potholes popping up around town the next few days.
Lucky us. But today, lawmakers in Lansing have been trying to take steps to address it. The new bill adds $175 million more dollars to fix as many potholes as they can with that money. So under that measure, that would mean $38 million going to cities, $68 million going to the counties. The rest would be for state roads. But already, some are pointing out that that is just not enough. Sean Lay talked with local leaders about that money. There is an awful lot of work out. It's a target-rich environment, Sean.
Oh, you're exactly right, Devin. Here's the deal. The state says they want to rush that $175 million down to local cities and counties to start fixing the roads. We've been talking to local authorities all day. They say they're calling this a gimmick, that just a Band-Aid that will not help you on the road very much at all. If the state of our roads has you shaking your head and shaking your car, the Senate's $175 million emergency road funding bill might make you downright angry. In fact, some local leaders look at the new funding this way.
It's a Band-Aid to a bullet wound.
Here's the breakdown. MDOT will get 39% of the $175 million. The Metro Detroit area will get $15 million. For perspective, MDOT's emergency repairs at 696 and I-75 cost $5 million alone. Oakland County will get $7 million. The Road Commission says it can stretch that cash into 3 road surfacing projects. Wayne County gets about $6.5 million. County Commissioner Gary Wardencheck says the bigger story is the state is now cutting income taxes while the roads are falling apart.
The fact that the governor had to sign a tax reduction, a tax cut today, when in fact it's going to save a family of 4, maybe $100 a year, and I've got constituents who are paying $1,000 in tire and rim repair.
Macomb County will get $4.5 million for its 780 miles of road, and County Executive Mark Hackle is furious.
It is just buying time. And I call it hush money, to quiet the public down so they can get through their election. That's all this is doing.
Let's break those numbers down from the county level now to city level. City of Detroit to receive $5.4 million for their roads. Warren, $924,000. Dearborn, $703,000. Your area also receiving money. We put the entire list on our website. Click on Detroit.com. Guys, back to you.
And Sean, for one Dearborn driver, that money's coming a little too late.
Very late. He has lost, guys, 7 tires in the last 6 weeks. He took one of those tires to a local meeting here in Dearborn. Wait till you see at 6 o'clock what happened at that meeting. Wow,
amazing. All right, Sean, we will see you then. The Dow Jones took a pretty steep dive today. Happened very quickly.
New tonight, the one thing the president announced that sent shockwaves through much more than just the stock market. Rod.
That question about whether teachers should have guns in school?
I have no problem with teachers being armed.
Turns out in some places there are a lot of teachers who want to know more and get involved. We'll let you know where.
Still hours of snow to go, and right now it looks like the heaviest of that stuff right in the heart of southeast Michigan. You can see that band of heavy snow right there in western Wayne County, and we will see this continue. We'll talk about what's to come after the snow. It could be just as bad. Coming up next.
It's
like 10 points.
New at 6.
A construction project in Oakland County is causing some major concerns for small businesses and their customers. We'll show you where people are dreading those orange barrels.
Ramping up the conversation on school safety expanded in really a very, very important way.
All right, Paula. Tragedy in Parkland, Florida has the whole country talking about what we can do to prevent school massacres. The idea of arming teachers seems to be a hot button in that debate, even put forward by the president. Tonight, Rod Maloney shows us how a local gun shop is embracing that idea.
For all of the talk about whether to allow guns in school, whether to allow a teacher to have a gun in school, and whether teachers would even want to get involved with a gun, turns out there are a lot who want to have one.
So for our concealed carry class, it's my guns, my ammo. And the reason being is safety. Safety is paramount.
Todd Bruning owns Todd's Guns in Lambertville near the Ohio border. He uses silenced .22 pistols for the quiet. His Saturday Facebook post offering a free one-day, 10-hour concealed pistol license class specifically for teachers filled quickly.
I have no problem with teachers being armed, but the ones that want to. Don't force someone to do something they don't want to.
So far, 25 teachers who must show their staff ID to get in signed up.
We're going to do some, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have to do more than one because this first one filled up like the same day after.
Also in his shop today, teacher's aide Danielle Heck from Erie, Michigan. She owns a pink handgun and intends to get her CPL, not in this class, but soon, because she wants to ensure safety for children in schools.
These parents trust us with them, and it's our job to protect them. And if arming teachers with a weapon that could possibly save their lives, it could be a good possibility.
In the end, though, Todd believes CPL training is nice, but certainly not nearly enough.
They need to do active shooter training with the deputies. The local law enforcement, there's going to be additional training needed.
Now, mind you, the state of Michigan has a law, and it's federal law. You can't have guns in schools. And so until that changes, Todd said, look, it's better to be safe and ready if, in fact, that law does change. Back to you.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm not sure what school district Todd lives in, but did he talk about what his own sort of local concern would be around this?
Well, yeah. Think about this, Devin. He lives in Bedford.
Okay.
And he is a member of the Bedford School Board. So there's at least one vote for allowing teachers to carry guns.
Fascinating debate. All right, Rod. Look what's behind Rod.
I was going to say, it looks nice right there, but not when you're driving through it.
Not when you're going through it, yeah. And this was what a change after what we had the last 2 days.
Huge difference, but those temperatures caused the problem because that's what is putting that rain and slush at the bottom of all this snow. And of course, it's all going to freeze tonight. And that's going to be a huge headache. But let's get through this headache first. 4 Live radar is still snowing. And some of the heavier snow, again, right striped in the middle of Metro Detroit. You can see that arcing band, that dark blue shade down there, pretty much starting to move into 275 and a good chunk of Wayne County. So behind that, the snow is a little bit lighter, but not by much. And you can see there's still hours of this stuff to go, even though we expect it to lighten up as we get into the evening. Let's go to storm pins because Tim Pamplin was talking about this earlier. The weight of this snow, even as it transitioned to snow, there's still a lot of water in this, and this stuff is heavy. Look at it stick to the trees. This is a shot we got in from Highland Township earlier today, and you can see everywhere. It is just coating everything, and I'm worried that as the later we get into this and the more snow sticks to these trees, we could have problems, especially as the sun goes down tonight with fallen tree branches over the roads. It's going to make it difficult to see. Here's another shot. This was up in Orion Township, and you can see everything's just hanging on those tree branches, and we've still got more to go as we get through the area. Now, this was a shot from Sandusky. This was posted right before the 5 o'clock show. I don't know when it was taken, but the radar has been showing that it's been snowing up there for quite some time, so I hope this was a little bit earlier in the day. Nevertheless, we do expect that that north zone is going to be getting some of the lower totals that we're going to be seeing for the next few hours. Here are the wind gusts. They're up 32 miles an hour down there in Monroe, everything coming out of the north, so it's not only coating those tree branches, but as Tim was saying, some of the street lights, the road signs are all coated with snow, making it difficult to read. Temperatures are at or above freezing, but as you know, if you lived around here for a while, that didn't mean anything as far as the snow goes, because it's those temperatures just above the surface that play into what type of precipitation we're going to get. And comparing this to yesterday, what a switch. 25, 27 degrees colder than the numbers that we were looking at 5 p.m. just yesterday. A little bit less of a change there in Port Huron because we already started to see that northeast wind cool things down in parts of our north zone this time yesterday. So here's the storm at a glance, and you can see the back edge. It was moving a little bit more, but now we're just seeing that snow starting to regenerate on the back side of it. There's a little bit more lift, a little bit more upper level support out there in southwest Michigan. So we anticipate that this snow is going to be going in some form or fashion through at least midnight tonight for most of us. The model showing that the intensity of the snow starts to wane a little bit by 7 o'clock. So it's going to get lighter. The accumulations are going to slow down, but we'll still be seeing some flakes again, especially in our north zone and our east side locations through about midnight tonight. After that, we dry out. High pressure takes control tomorrow, and we get some sunshine in here, but by 7 a.m., we're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. And so that means all this stuff just gets frozen solid to start, but we will be seeing sunshine in the second half of the day, and that will melt it. But we're going to freeze it again as we get into Friday night, and that cycle looks like it could continue through the upcoming weekend. So 30 for a low in Detroit tonight. That's going to be one of our warm spots. South zone lows, upper 20s generally, a little bit milder out here towards Lake Erie. All 20s for our west zone and for our north zone tonight. So everybody's below freezing as we start out Friday morning, and that could make Friday morning's commute even more treacherous than what we're dealing with tonight. 40 for the high temperature. A lot of sunshine, that's going to help out. Still a little bit breezy tomorrow, but we finally get to relax at least in the afternoon hours. But it's that freeze-thaw cycle that's going to be really working against us.
And it's this heavy, wet stuff that is no fun to move and can bring stuff down.
Yeah, especially when you have to shovel it.
Right, yeah.
So much water.
So careful.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ben.
All right.
A man was arrested at this Kohl's, but it wasn't for shoplifting. I'm Larry Sproul, and I'll tell you the charges he's now facing and why police believe he may be connected to other crimes in this area.
All right, Larry, but first, police swarm one of Metro Detroit's biggest high schools. Why? It's next.
Students at Plymouth Canton High Schools were dismissed early after a threatening message was found at one of the schools.
We've seen a run of this in the last couple of weeks. Before being let out, both high schools were on what's known as a soft lockdown after initially discovering the threat. Police officials are stressing staff and students were safe. There was no immediate danger. Students in the high schools were let out around 11 a.m. Those in the middle and elementary schools not affected by the lockdown, and they, in fact, were not let out early. Hamlet Temple on Detroit's west side was broken into this morning.
It happened at the church on Wyoming near Schoolcraft around 4 a.m. Now you're seeing video from the scene while Detroit police conducted an investigation. It's not known how the suspects got inside or why they broke in. The investigation is ongoing.
Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly has announced that once again he's going to have to undergo treatment for oral cancer.
In a statement made earlier today, the former Buffalo Bills quarterback said to get through this, he is focusing on what he calls the 4 F's: faith, family, friends, and fans. Unfortunately, this isn't Kelly's first time getting this diagnosis. If you recall, back in 2013 and again in 2014, he was diagnosed with oral cancer and was considered cancer-free after those treatments.
New at 5:30.
I bet you didn't know this, but last year more Social Security numbers were stolen than credit card numbers. And yes, your identity was probably compromised as well. But have no fear, we're going to be talking to the experts coming up in just a few minutes about how you can protect yourself.
Today, Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashing a new nuclear threat against the U.S. and the world. But is President Trump doing enough to address it? Some lawmakers say no.
Snow is still pummeling southeast Michigan, and it is heavy in spots. Pontiac, one of those spots, reporting some of that heavy snow as we speak. We're just getting brand new totals in from the storm, and we'll look at them next on Local 4 News at 5:30.
Gather the family.
A severe weather alert in effect as a March storm kicks into high gear. The snow starting to pile up. You're looking at live pictures right now from I-275. This is right near Farmington.
And from west to east, no one's getting spared tonight. These are live pictures from Van Dyke, just north of 696 in Warren. Boy, just take it slow out there. And if you don't have to go out tonight, don't, because that is some really heavy, wet stuff still coming down.
My goodness.
Yeah, and I was talking with some of the folks in the newsroom who know a little bit more about cars than I do, but apparently when all that stuff is sticking to the grill of your car, that heavy, wet snow, that's restricting the airflow into your vehicle.
I didn't know that.
So you need to get that stuff cleaned off. So that's just another headache. The list is growing.
It is.
The problems that this stuff is causing. But let's show you some of the totals that we're getting in here so far. 5 inches now being reported in Ann Arbor. Saline not far behind there at 4.5. The heaviest totals have been coming in our west zone, especially west of 23. That was one of the first places to see that changeover from rain to snow earlier today. And you've already seen that heavy band of snow go through earlier in the afternoon. Brighton 3.8, Metro Airport just under 3 inches of snow, and Livonia at 2.5. And of course, that's still coming down across the area. There's that band of heavier snow we were talking about right now through Wayne and parts of Monroe County. As it exits, the stuff behind that is relatively lighter, but still accumulating. And then we've got even more snow that's starting to become a little bit more intense in the west side of the state. So when we take off that winter mask, that blue mask, you can really tell where that band of heavier snow is setting up there right along 275 into parts of Monroe County. So as we go through the nighttime hours tonight, temperatures are at or above freezing right now. They will drop below 32, and we'll be into the 20s by tomorrow morning. So this is going to freeze solid as we start out tomorrow morning's commute. More on this, and don't forget to take a look at our local forecasters app if you haven't downloaded it already. It's got the radar, it's got the alerts, and it's all in the palm of your hand. Download it for free in your app store by searching WDIV. Guys?
Take a live look in Dearborn where a tree has toppled onto some power lines. This is on Homer, just south of Monroe. Power has been knocked out in that area, and as you can see, it's kind of a fluid situation. A big tree down there. We'll keep our eye on this and any other events that happen during this newscast as this snowstorm blows through. This is Roderick Emmons, and police say he exposed himself in not one but 2 stores in Troy on the same day.
Larry Spruill is on this story for us tonight. And Larry, is he behind bars right now?
Well, Sandra, he is out of jail right now, but he did spend about 93 days in jail after he was caught here at this at-home store. And police believe that he could face more charges once the investigation is over with. Take a look at this man, 36-year-old Roderick Emmons. Troy police tell me he's in trouble tonight.
He was spotted masturbating in the store.
Sergeant Megan Lehman with Troy police tell me the incident happened on January 22nd inside this Kohl's store in Troy.
So we were able to get some of our plainclothes officers involved. They observed him doing the same thing in the other store, and we arrested him.
Police say the second location was here at this at-home store on the Oakland Mall property. Lehman tells me he was driving a black 2017 Lincoln MKZ and is from Huntington Woods. Thursday, we stopped by his home. but no one answered the door.
It's definitely disturbing, something you wouldn't want kids to see, or anyone for that matter.
And police did tell me that he is facing 2 counts of indecent exposure. They also believe that he may be involved in other incidents in this area. We're live in Troy tonight. Larry Sproul, Local 4.
And Larry, any idea at this point, do we know how many more incidents that he may actually be connected to at this point?
Well, Sandra, police did not go into full detail as far as how many incidents he could be connected to, but I do know there are multiple incidents. Sandra?
All right, Larry Sproul reporting live for us tonight. Thanks, Larry.
For months now, U.S. officials have been increasingly concerned about Russian election meddling. And today, Russian President Vladimir Putin unveiled an even bigger threat. But Trump is more focused on trade with China. Blaine Alexander is following all of it from Washington. Good evening, Blaine.
Well, Jason, for months now, U.S. officials have been increasingly concerned about Russian election meddling. But today, Putin unveiled an even bigger threat. Vladimir Putin revealing what he calls Russia's invincible high-tech arsenal of nuclear weapons, able to evade U.S. defenses and hit any target on the planet. One animation even showing warheads raining down on Florida.
Next week, we'll be signing.
Hours after that ominous unveiling, President Trump talking tough on trade, announcing harsh new tariffs on aluminum and steel, risking a trade war with China and potentially angering U.S. allies.
The fact is we weren't treated, and we haven't been treated fairly by other countries.
Lawmakers say with Putin's threats hanging over Washington, the president is focused on the wrong fight.
I would urge the president to push back and push back hard.
President Trump understands the threats facing America and our allies in this century and is determined to protect our homeland.
Also today, new White House turmoil after the resignation of Communications Director Hope Hicks, a close family confidant since before the campaign. And NBC News reporting National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster could be out as early as next month. And as President Trump trades more tough words with his attorney general.
Pardon me, officer.
Reportedly calling him Mr. Magoo after the bumbling cartoon character. Today, this from Chief of Staff John Kelly.
The last thing I wanted to do was walk away from one of the great honors of my life, being the Secretary of Homeland Security. But I did something wrong and God punished me, I guess.
Telling his former Homeland Security staff he misses them every day. And today, Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked whether President Trump wants to get rid of his attorney general. Her response, quote, "Not that I know of." In Washington, Blaine Alexander, Local 4.
By the way, stocks today sold off sharply and investors moved into the safety of bonds after the president's announcement of the new harsher tariffs.
Vice President Mike Pence will be in Detroit tomorrow. He's expected to speak at an event hosted by America First Policies. The event is a series of talks discussing the new tax cuts and Job Act and also how it will impact both Detroit and the state of Michigan. The event is being held at the Westin Book Cadillac. It is set for 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. A man from Boston has been arrested and charged for sending letters with white powder to 5 people, including the most recent letter sent to Senator Debbie Stabenow. 24-year-old Daniel Friziello is accused of mailing 5 of those envelopes earlier this month with threatening messages inside and a white substance which turned out to be non-hazardous. That letter to Stabenow concerned her. The reaction to Randy Margraves trying to attack Larry Nassar during his daughter's testimony. Stabenow's office is not commenting on the matter tonight.
The body of a missing woman in Virginia has been found and authorities have a man in custody. According to the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office, the body of 23-year-old Terrellyn St. John was found partially hidden off a Middlesex County road in a patch of woods. A man is now being questioned and her death is being investigated as a homicide. Authorities say the suspect, who was acquainted with the victim, contacted authorities this morning, leading them to the body.
Across Michigan tonight, 1 person is dead, another injured after a collision between a snowmobile and a snow trail grooming vehicle. This happened in Sault Ste. Marie. It happened Monday near a ski trail in Chippewa County. Police say 1 person was pronounced dead there at the scene. The other had to be taken to the hospital. That person's condition tonight is still not clear. The crash remains under investigation.
And in Lansing, Governor Rick Snyder has signed legislation designed to expand the availability of growlers for takeout craft beer purchases. The use of jugs, known as growlers, is a popular way for beer drinkers to take home beer. The bill revises the definition of an eligible merchant for legally selling and filling growlers. That was signed yesterday. All it took was one small suggestion from a fourth grader to turn a love of singing into something special.
This is very special indeed. In this week's Heart of Detroit, Mitch Albom introduces us to Bob Cindric and the Saline swarm of voices.
Bob Cindric spends his days teaching music to students at Woodland Meadows Elementary in Saline. 5 years ago, a fourth grader brought him a unique request.
She said, I love to sing, and I'm wondering if we could start a little choir club outside of the school day. And I said, yeah, if you can get some interest. I thought maybe she might get a handful of kids. And so she emailed me the very next day and said, well, I've got 26 kids who would like to do it, but I've only talked to 60. By the end of that year, we had 85.
And the group has continued to grow. Now 108 strong, the Saline Swarm of Voices practices 2 mornings before school each week. The kids pack into the risers, start with a warm-up, and for the next hour, they just sing.
Ever since I started teaching, I will never, ever make a child sing by themselves. I encourage them, and I love it when it happens. And they have an opportunity in every rehearsal to sing by themselves. And just about every rehearsal, we get a new hand, and the kids just cheer for each other when somebody does that.
The choir performs throughout the year at schools and nursing homes, bringing joy to all who watch.
This is extracurricular for the kids. It's also extracurricular for you, too, right? I mean, you're basically doing this on your own time.
Oh, yeah.
There's no part of you that says, if I'm not getting paid for it, why should I be doing it?
Oh, no. Those are my 2 favorite days of the week. This is the only choir that I've ever had where every single child is there because they love to sing.
Note by note, Bob Cindric and the Saline Swarm of Voices are creating joyful noise right here in the heart of Detroit.
Angelic voices. When a choir gets going that way.
I know. They're all so passionate and so into it. So cool.
Why would you not want to be there?
Yeah, I love it.
For sure. We have some power outages going on. A couple of minutes ago, you saw that tree down on power lines in Dearborn. I don't know if this is related yet, but we have 21,000 people without power in western Wayne County.
And the lines are actually down from that heavy, wet snow and ice that we've been talking about. So we will update you on that as well throughout our newscast. Meantime, still ahead, a special passenger hops on board a very small plane.
New tonight, what makes this little guy so special and why the pilot stopped at nothing to get him to tag along.
And the water just kept rising. Look at this, new here at 5:30, how crews were able to make a dramatic rescue right in the nick of time.
They say your Social Security number has already been stolen and is for sale on the dark web. It's a pretty scary thought. But up next, we'll talk to some experts who say there's a way to be prepared for identity theft.
On Jeopardy! New at 6.
When you blow out your spare tire on a pothole, that's when you know things have gotten ridiculous.
I just want to leave the car where it is, and I don't want to deal with it anymore.
He has lost 7 tires this season, and he says he has a solution. All right, it is snowing, first day of March, but yet it still feels like auto show time. And GM is rolling out a new pickup truck, and it's not this one. It's a whole lot nicer. We'll show it to you.
All right, Rod. The massive Equifax data breach keeps getting worse. We're learning 2.4 million more people have been affected. That brings the total number of information stolen to 148 million. But what's even scarier, check this out. Experts say even with that data breach, more Social Security numbers were stolen in the last year than credit card numbers. They say it's like a house fire. The solution isn't just to have a smoke detector. You need insurance to fix the house after the fire. We talked with one woman who had a Social Security issue happen to her, putting her health at risk.
Iris Williams died on November 13th, 2016. The only problem, Iris isn't dead. She's very much alive and living in sunny California.
Someone pushed the wrong button when recording a death.
So they pushed the wrong number on a Social Security number.
Yep, thanks to a clerical error, Iris was accidentally declared deceased. She at first thought it was funny until this accident affected her finances and even her health.
I think I went to order my pills online and I couldn't. So I called and they told me I no longer had insurance.
Paul Farron is the vice president of Liberty ID. He says clerical mistakes like this can create an avalanche of issues. While this doesn't happen often, he wants you to be prepared for Social Security theft.
Bad guys out there are collecting little bits of data from multiple people, using an element from multiple people and essentially sewing together a new individual.
But here's what you might not know.
The vast majority of identity theft is harbored or centralized in your medical information, followed by IRS tax return fraud.
It's mostly because everything we do is now electronic. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Well, start with how you use your information online. Practice computer online safety by keeping your passwords protected and different from site to site. Shred all of your old documents, especially after you do your taxes in the next couple of weeks. And remember, if a fire happens, use that insurance.
We really advocate that the individual take responsibility and seek out companies that provide restoration.
Restoration, like what Liberty ID does, means they'll help you fix what was taken. In Iris's case, they gathered all the paperwork she needed and helped her connect with her health insurance to prove her identity and get her medication to her on time.
They're helping me ongoing. They're helping you to prove it and work on it, not just, pull your credit and see if anything's on there.
Yeah, imagine trying to prove you're still alive. And just so you know, it takes 18 months to detect identity theft after it happens. 18 months. We have more information on how to protect yourself on the Help Me Hank page at clickondetroit.com.